Welcome everybody to the September 15th, the day after the election day special edition of the Recall Town Hall. I'm so glad to have you all here. And, I understand that the results are not what everybody would have liked to have seen. It's kind of like waking up on Christmas morning and, not finding that special gift under the tree that you were hoping for all year. But just rest assured, today is the first day of the rest of our lives and life will go on. And I've had a lot of questions about, what's next? What are we doing? Where are we taking this? And, what are we going to do as we go forward? Well, folks, there's a lot that we have to do, and there's a great plan that we have to enact. And as we move forward, the 2022 election cycle is just months away. This governor went from, his record campaign in California, where he spent record amounts of unlimited resources on securing his damaged career, and he's going to have to jump right into the next election cycle. So there is no rest for him. He's going to have to jump in and fight just as hard over these next 12 and 15 months to secure his future as we go forward. And we're going to be there every step of the way to make sure that he doesn't secure a second term. So Mike, I'm glad to see you joining us tonight. God bless, my friend. Happy to have you along. So
glad to be here. And everybody out here, I want you to know we are damn proud of you. And be aware that to change something as big as California, and of course we're disappointed, and there's lots of reasons why we weren't victorious in our eyes yesterday. But let's be aware of something. It's going to take a number of cycles to make change, and we don't plan on giving up. Now, I'm going to throw out a little story here, if you don't mind. There's a guy named Don Blankenship, who's a little bit of a whack job, and a Republican whack job in West Virginia. And you might know him for a lot of reasons, a billionaire. And he took a lot of money to change West Virginia to more Republican is the best way. He thought it would take 5 election cycles. He did it in 4. The reality is we have to get people off their duff. I'm going to be really candid, because I normally am. And I said this to the press last night with all kinds of cameras. Enough people didn't vote on our side. That's the reality of the situation. The numbers are going to come in. It's not anybody that's here, but we didn't have the money or the resources, apparently, to get the people out to vote on our side. Can I state some statistics, Oren? I think you'll find
absolutely. I just want to chime in along with what you were saying is that, folks, this governor has spent untold millions upon millions of dollars, in upwards of $70 million over the last 6 months. That's more than $10 million a month to put this recall down. And not one time did I hear a reason why he should stay in office that supported something that he did that was worthy of his keeping his job. He focused his attention more on slandering the recall, mischaracterizing the recall as a Republican power grab, a Republican takeover. And, he used threats and intimidation and smear tactics in order to drive his message forward. And that's part and parcel with his mob mentality, where, they just don't focus on the reasons behind the recall, but they focused on the people, you and me and others that worked on this recall instead. And, when you have to call out the President of the United States, the Vice President, Amy Klobuchar, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, and all of the other talking heads that are out of state and out of touch with California to try and salvage his damaged career, there's not a lot that we had that could match that. We just didn't have the resources flow into the Recall Gavin 2020 team in order to do an effective advertising campaign. We used the resources that we had very judiciously by putting banners and yard signs and flyers and door hangers out there and radio advertisement. We used whatever we had to achieve what we could afford, and we were as effective as we could, and we were effective in getting millions of votes out to support this recall. And I'm very proud of that, and I'm very proud of everything that everybody did over these last year and a half, 2 years, in order to achieve this. We are not done here, are we, Mike? And I'm going to let you get to your statistics here shortly, but we are not done here. We're going to continue on, and to answer everybody's question, what's next? Rebuilding California is next, and I am going to announce the birth of the rebuildcalifornia.com movement right now. The website will be up. It'll be live and active beginning in the next couple of days. Rebuildcalifornia.com is alive and well. And we're going to take all of the Facebook groups, all of the network that we built. The Recall Gavin 2020.com team is now going to be the Rebuildcalifornia.com team. And we're going to continue to do great things and to help build infrastructure for our state through the public initiative process, and we're going to drive that forward. We are under attack. Don't let your guard down. The day after the recall election, the legislatures announced in the elections division that they are openly attacking the recall process itself. And this is something that Mike and I can talk about later in the show. Mike, I'll turn it back over to you and let you talk about your statistics before I get too lost in the weeds.
It's important to note that what we built is a momentum of volunteers. And I've said this before, that even when Schwarzenegger won in the recall in 2003, the state gave up. We can't give up now. Again, understand, there are other issues with elections. We get it. The reality is this, and I know that Elder came out and there'll be all this stuff back and forth, but the statistics I really want you to sink in is this. Again, 18 million people voted for president, 12.5 million people in the gubernatorial election. That's a 6 million gap. I'll be surprised if we hit 10 million yesterday. That includes a lot of people on the traditional Republican side. So the reality is, it's not because of Larry Elder. It's not because of even this, that, and the other from Gavin. The fact of the matter is, people quit voting because they've given up hope. And what we need to do is continue to give them hope. That's the reality of the recall and what it's about. I started to talk about election cycles. This is a bonus cycle for us, okay? This brought out a lot of things that the Dems say, hey, we'll probably do this in 2022. We've accelerated the cycle of election. But for everybody out there, and I said this so much last night that my voice is gone, screaming in the press. I was at the Pineapple Grill. Oren was up at House of Oliver, right? Look, it's a celebration. Understand that if we make it to the Super Bowl, which we did, there's a chance we won't come out victorious. Does that mean that next year we don't try as hard to get there? We've accelerated the cycle. We built a shortened season, and we need to continue this for the sake of everybody, everywhere. The recall gives people hope. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's a lot like religion. We have to keep spreading the word. The problem is that we depended, I'm going to be really blunt here, on many entities, right, that came on there. Even on our side, some were political parties. Does that sound quasi-politically correct enough? Some were other entities that came in, and we expected them to kind of take a bigger role. The reality is, we the people have to continue what Oren says all the time, so the people aren't the underdog. To defeat the political machine, we need to keep moving with it, what with initiatives, candidates we're going to pick. Because I got to tell you, I haven't put whatever the hell I used to say a year and a half. That's probably going on 2 years now, 19 months of my life into this to go, we lost time to watch NCIS. It's not happening. The reality is we in the movement know what we can do legally and peacefully, and whatever they throw at us, we can throw it back. The recall election yesterday didn't hit its numbers because enough people didn't make it to the polls. Go ahead.
We, this group, this network, everybody listening to this show, put the largest petition drive ever attempted in United States history on the ballot, and that can't be taken away from us, folks. We did what everybody said couldn't be done. We achieved that. And, you know, it's a miraculous, historical, monumental time in California history. Regardless, this is going to go down. The margin that Gavin Newsom won is going to shrink, and he's not going to win by the magnanimous margins that they say he has right now, because they're continuing to count the vote. There's millions of votes that have yet to be counted, and they're still coming in. And keep in mind, you know, everything about this governor's defense and his reasons for, you know, fighting the recall were all a big lie. And he brought out the best liars he could to sell that story to the American public, to the California people. And, you know, they were able to reach more people than we did. That's all. So we need to broaden our scope. We need to pool our resources and continue to charge forward and not give up. We need to regroup, regenerate, and come out swinging for the next round, because the next round is the 2022 cycle, and we cannot belly up and lay over and let these people run ramshot over us. We know the difference between right and wrong. This is still a battle between good and evil, and we are the warriors on the battlefield fighting for the better good of California. The people, the legislators who are taking on the recall itself, they are fighting in opposition of the people. They are fighting against the people. They're no longer representative of the people that they serve by trying to erode or limit or eliminate the recall process. And when they attack the recall process, they're attacking the very foundation that this country was built upon, and that is a self-governance. And that's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And when they come out in opposition of that, they are an enemy of the people, and they're no longer working for us, they're working against us. And just like I told the San Francisco Chronicle today, I have a question. What happens if they eliminate all of the peaceful options? What happens then? Back to you, Mike.
Thanks. Let me throw out a couple other things too here. Understand, we get a lot of talks about election integrity. There will be things happening after it, but let's put that down. The reality is, I kept saying we can't win if people don't play. Now, here's an interesting statistic for you. My figure may be slightly off. Did you know out of the 58 counties, 26 of them voted for the recall? Actually, I think it's 28. So almost half the counties voted for the recall. The challenge is, in the bigger counties, what we need to do is reach out to more people, not just to get them, quote, converted, but to get them to vote. Understand, and I've said this so many times, I have to catch myself repeating, Los Angeles had about a 20% turnout. Now, most of you go, LA, you know, who cares? It's liberal. Look, without LA's vote and all the votes in Orange County, and all the votes in all these larger communities and the turnout, it's going to be hard to do. Warren, you use the term battleground a lot. I'm going to take you up on that tonight. We have much of the geographic of the state won when I looked at the counties today. And in many of the other counties, it's fairly close. So all of you out there look at the big number, right, at 68-38, it's going to count. It'll be down eventually to about 60-40, which is still a loss any way that you look at it. But the reality is the big numbers in the big counties, we, with what we're doing going forward, have to reach out and build on and touch those people to get them to vote for the initiatives and candidates that we want. There are probably some things going on with the elections, but the reality is, everybody, we've got to get people to vote. And if they don't trust the voting, but don't even try, I can't help them. Because
you can't catch a fish if your hook's not in the water, as my dad's always been told.
You can't be cheated on if you don't play the game. And that's the part that really bothered me yesterday, that at best, 60% of Republicans maybe even voted. That doesn't make them bad people, or maybe some of them. But what it really means is this, that they didn't feel the sense of hope that we felt in the recall. We have to continue to spread that to them. And that's the way that we're going to win this battle. And Steve, I'm going to jump in on you a little bit because I noticed you made a comment there. I voted early Saturday. It felt very good. It did. And I voted a week ago and it felt very good. And I did vote in person. And I want to be clear that when the next election comes up, remember this message. Everybody, I get the traditional way of going to polls. I don't like the way they do it either, but they do open polls for a number of days. The last minute rush, and some people did get shut out. I doubt that changed the election, but I guarantee you some people went by, said it's 95 degrees. We can't have it. You can't wait like a deed on your house or a contest where you win $1 million till the last minute. That is something we need to make sure. Yes, vote in person. We can do an initiative to stop machines. We could do an initiative, anything we want, but we can't get an initiative passed if we don't vote. Back to you, Warren.
You know, I saw Ellen had commented earlier that Zone 4 rocked the recall. Absolutely, Ellen, you guys did. It was stunning. You know, as I've always said, up and down the state, it a lot depended on the leadership of different communities. And we have such a wonderful network of people that we've worked with, and we've built friendships, long-lasting, lifelong friendships. Over this last year and a half, we bonded, we've come together. It doesn't mean that, you know, the party's over and we're just going to go our separate ways, folks. I'm asking every one of you to stick with us. We're going to continue to fight forward. Yeah, it's going to be on a different level. It's not going to be as, you know, the battleground that it was these last couple of months, but it's just as important. We're going to be championing some political or some public initiatives like water initiatives for the agricultural supply of water, safe drinking water, above ground, below ground storage, desalination plants. We're going to mandate that, you know, the state constitution be amended to reflect the needs of a growing population with the water needs of the population within the state. It's very important. And this is something that this legislature has turned a blind eye and a deaf ear to, but that's something that we as a people can do as we come together, and we come together under the rebuildcalifornia.com team and we push forward. School choice is another one that's important to the people that this legislature has turned a deaf ear and a blind eye to. And there's other initiatives out there that are just as important, that we don't have to wait for these people to act on our behalf, because they've shown time and time again, they're no longer representative of the people that put them in office, but they're working in opposition of what we want. And they're pushing their own agenda. And that's something that we need to stop. We stop it with the recall process. We do everything we can to protect the recall process in our state, it's already been under attack with Josh Newman and SB Senate Bill 660 and 663, and they've been trying to erode the recall process because they know that when there's a supermajority and a single party rule, the one thing that brings balance back into the system is the people. And the people have become the underdog in California, and we're standing up. We're not going to belly over for these rogue legislators ever again, and we're going to remove them from power and not let them hold power again in California. Now, mind you, that I understand, this governor won when quote a landslide, but not everything was equal. It was not an equal playing field. He had unlimited resources, and he had an unfair advantage when it came to, bringing people in to talk on his behalf. And, when you do that, you rarely ever heard the governor talking on his own behalf. He had talking heads that are out of state and out of touch come in and talk on his behalf. To try and salvage his damaged career. And, you have people like George Soros donating millions of dollars to his campaign, or $1 million to his campaign. And George Soros, I'm, sorry to say, but, God bless that man. But, he is an old man, and I don't want to say anything more than that, but his usefulness is all but served itself as far as I'm concerned.
I want to cover a couple other things here tonight. Ellen, you mentioned Tulare, and understand that I know everybody's sending your stuff in an election, but also understand your county's voting system. Tulare, actually, Ellen, because you brought it up, we won 58% to 30%. Okay, we won Tulare County. So there's a lot of counties that we won that we need to take back more ground. I want to look up something right now that Oren just made me think of, and he does make me think occasionally. Understand, when we did the recall, again, hold please, that we again did the recall, 50 cents a signature. 53, us against the people, and got 2.1 million. Oren, I'm not very good at math, so I'm going to lay this one on you. How much money did Gavin spend? About 72 million, wasn't it? Call it 60 million. I'm going to make it easy on you. Okay? Gavin Newsom, this is how low the turnout was, even on Gavin's side, but we didn't turn out enough.
Oh, how much money did he spend per vote, Mike?
Well, he got no votes of just under 6 million. So he basically, I would have to do that on a calculator because I'm one of those.
Over $10 a vote. $10
a vote. Now think about that. And that's just for a vote. All right.
And that's the money that was donated to his campaign. Remember, he spent hundreds of millions of dollars of our tax money to bribe people to call them back into his favor, so to speak.
But it's even deeper than that, because Gavin Newsom when you spend $60 million on a campaign, a big party, sure as hell would want to get more than 6 million people there. And I don't want to go too deep tonight because this isn't the show for it. But you have to understand how much money was spent against us. And for the average election to spend that much money and have that kind of showing, people even on his side said, we're not going to play, and we need to give people more hope so they show up. That's really the narrative going forward here. And we can talk about elections and how to support the machines, but we can't do anything until we get initiative on the ballot, and we have to get people out to vote on it.
Yep. And, Mike, he's going to have to turn around and do exactly what he did these last 6 months, these last 7 months, and he's going to have to do the exact same thing. He's going to have to raise the exact same amount of money, and he's going to have to go back into his campaign mode and run up and down the state and continue to campaign over the next year in order to try and keep his job. So I think that, the polls had shown that the majority of Californians want him gone. They didn't necessarily want him gone during a recall election, but they absolutely do not want him in office for a second term.
Now, Orrin, you and I have made one big mistake tonight. We haven't let Susan Herb talk.
Susan's here, and I think Tim has some things that he'd like to say. And, we'd love to take some more questions from the audience if they have some. If, there's pressing questions that people have going forward, hopefully we've answered some of them. But Susan, welcome aboard. Thank you so much. I missed you last night, but I know you were working over in the polls up in Nevada County, am I not mistaken, right?
Correct. Yesterday we worked 6:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. And
my goodness.
I was ready to meet my pillow when I got home. I just want to give a shout out to all of our volunteers, regional managers, boots on the ground, everyone that spent all this time and all their energy getting the vote, getting the petition signed. We wouldn't have even made the ballot if it weren't for them. And major kudos to our lead team, Warren Heatley, Mike Netter, Dan Cioni,
Susan Herb,
Robin,
Christine, everyone.
Yeah.
We didn't get the recall, but he's not done yet. We're going to get rid of him in 2022. But we wouldn't have done it with all the boots on the ground. And Tim Holliday for everything, with the man with many hats. We wouldn't have done it without him either.
Absolutely not.
We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have made history. But we're not done. We got plans in the works.
And you know what, Susan? I don't think there's a single person on this team or who was out gathering signatures who has one regret of spending time gathering signatures. It may not have had the best outcome that we were looking forward to, but we knew that we were up against all odds. This is a David and Goliath moment for California. And there are absolutely no regrets on my side. I've worked alongside everybody, you guys, for months and months and months, tirelessly for endless hours every single day. And, it's just been a labor of love, and it's warmed my heart. Like Mike says, it's given us hope. It's given a lot of people hope in California. And this is something that we need to continue to build upon, and we're going to keep going forward. Gavin Newsom didn't win a damn thing yesterday. He merely kept his job for a little while longer. He's going to get a couple more government paychecks, and then the Californians are going to have another opportunity to choose his successor come November in 2022.
Can I say something as a citizen and not as a member of the recall group?
100%.
Kevin Kiley, 2022. I think the reason he didn't have more votes was because not everybody knows him. But come 2022, I'm hoping he runs for governor, and we need to start now and get his name across the state. This man is an assemblyman. He's already challenged Newsom in court, and he's won against him. He's written a book about Newsom and all his corruption. This is our next governor. He just needs to get out there so everybody can meet him and fall in love with him like I love him.
Like we all have. And you know what, Susan? Rebuild California 2020 or rebuildcalifornia.com.
Yes. Yeah.
Before we leave tonight, I want to say we're going Friday Nights of French Laundry this Friday. Take a hiatus then as we reshape the show. Okay. So this will be
Unless there's somebody out there that wants to continue to sponsor the Friday nights at the French Laundry.
absolutely. If there's someone that wants to sponsor, great. But we can do one more show legally under here, and we'll try to figure out something going forward. But this will be the final edition. Or what are we doing on the town halls every Wednesday? Are we going to continue those?
We are going to continue the town halls. The Wednesday town hall will move forward as we continue to rebuild California. And, we are the new steering committee of the state. And this is where we're going to be able to communicate with each other. And we want our audience to grow and go and keep everything moving forward in the right direction. And unless somebody says otherwise, I for one vote that we continue the recall, not the recall town hall, but the town hall as we go forward.
I think so too. I just wanted to be clear on that.
You need donations. You can continue sending donations to recallgavin2020.com to keep the town hall going, to keep the French Laundry going, and to help rebuild California.com.
And we still have some expenses, folks. So the battles are not done. Our legal battles aren't over. We totally expect audits in the near future, because we know how this government has weaponized the IRS and other governmental entities to come after groups like us, and we expect them to do that. So you can continue to help fund the fight at recallgavin2020.com. That website is going to be changing to rebuildcalifornia.com. And then we'll continue to do business under that new name. Same bear, new name.
Sounds great.
All right, Timothy, did you have anything to add to the show tonight, my friend?
Well, as much as Gavin likes to give misinformation.
We can't see your picture. You got to come on screen unless you can't.
We saw his picture. We saw his picture until you mentioned it. Tim, put your camera back on. Don't listen to Oren. Now your camera's off. Now your camera's on. Don't touch a thing.
There's Timothy.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
But anyways, as much as Gavin likes to give out a lot of misinformation, one of the biggest things is this is not a Republican takeover. I was at a wonderful event last night with Assemblyman Kiley, and there was a number of Democrats there supporting the recall, as well as being supportive of our Assemblyman Kiley. So, Gavin, quit giving out misinformation. And people, you guys got to stop listening to this guy. We need honest politicians in office.
And not corrupt ones.
Stop the lie, Gavin.
Wait, Tim's making me laugh because I'm not saying this to the press yet until it's final. But unofficially, for only everybody watching here, if this was really a Republican-driven recall, where the hell were all the Republican voters? Because the reality is all the Republicans didn't show up, and I'm going to be really candid about that. So if it was a Republican solely driven recall and not a recall of the people, you would think all the Republicans would have shown up. Tim, didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
There would have been more than, more money put into the effort from the Republicans than there was. I think, the Republicans put in maybe $200,000, and that went to Rescue California, not to recallgavin2020.com. And where was the big money? I mean, the Democrat Party put in millions into Gavin Newsom's campaign, but no, this was a Republican power grab. But what it really was is a Democrat control hold on our state.
Absolutely right, Oren.
Also, if anybody wants to join online exitpoll.com, and it's all anonymous. You put in how you voted, yes on the recall, and your candidate. They're keeping track because they believe that 95% of people voted yes.
What was that website again, Susan?
I posted on the chat screen. It's called online exit poll.
Okay, I see it.
It's in the chat screen.
Remember, though, that all you, and again, Susan, people should go there, but let's be very well aware that, and I can use it, Sonia, I know you've already texted me, etc. We can use a deep dive, clinical deep dive into statistics here, okay, and see where, as we continue the movement, we need to shore up our troops and gain more land, okay? The reality is, okay, again, many people, I heard a pollster say something about a week ago. It was on Inside Politics. He said, really, the problem with the polls and the recall, likely voters, goes, everybody we call is going to go, sure, I'm voting. So half the people are full of BS because they don't actually vote. That's why the polls themselves ahead of time are bad. So we need to deep dive into the actual statistics, and we could use some help on that. Where are the counties? Who voted? They're available by party, by the Hispanics, by African Americans, to really see where we need to shore up. That is so critically important for Rebuild California going forward, because if we don't do that and continue to reach out and spread that religion, we're not going to get more converts that we need to get this state changed.
All right, folks, we're going to wind down this recall town hall. And I just have to say, all for one.
One
for all.
All for one.
And I'll see you Friday night on this final edition of the French Laundry, whether you like it or not.
That, you know what, that is going to be the end of an era, folks. Don't miss the final show of the French Laundry on kabc.com. Tim, how can they find that stream live?
Yeah, they can find it stream live on Zoom and also on kabc.com to listen in from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Friday.
Magdalena, Ellen, Sam, everybody that's joined in, God bless you all. And Mike, I'll let you close
Everybody
it out.
Call in this week, okay? That's what we did last week. Put your stories on the air where people can hear them, okay? You won't get a tremendous amount of time. Last week was fantastic. I think we had over 35, 40 callers. But again, everybody here, call in. Call in our number at 1-800-222-5222 and get off. We're not going to have any big guests this week. What we're going to have is I want your stories on the show.
And I just want to give a real quick shout out to everybody that wished me well over these last couple of weeks. You know that I was conspicuously absent from the French Laundry and the town hall. I want to thank Mike and everybody, Tim and Susan, for chiming in and helping, pick up the slack where I had left off, because I was down with a case of the COVID. It was a mild case, but nonetheless, it knocked me off my ass for a couple of days, and I had to take a little bit of a break to recover. I am back 100% now, glad to be here and back in the saddle and ready to charge back out onto the battlefield.
And Oren, you may be the first man in the history of COVID to actually, I've got to say this on the air, come out looking better.
Well, you know what? Our prayers go out to Robin, who she's on the upside of the COVID. She was hospitalized for 3 days, but she's doing a lot better. Ellen was hospitalized as well. Both were discharged on oxygen, but they're all on the upswing of this.
Hopefully neither of them are going to be upset with sharing that on the public airways, but God bless you guys. And it is prayers answered that everybody recovered fully, and you all are doing well.
Remember, everybody, life is precious. The moments count. Make your moments count to keep the state moving forward, because we're all Californians and have to keep pushing. Make your moments count. Thank you. God bless and good night.
Good night, everyone.